How about, what is the church is teaching on capital punishment? The church teaches that although it's going to be some of the popes, John Paul, Benedict, and Francis, have said that capital punishment, okay, in the case of somebody who's a real menace to society, that's the only way to remove them and to end that, danger to the society. Capital punishment has been allowed, okay? But the church also says it has to be very, very, very rare. Now, let's just do an analogy, because somebody came to the office one day and he said, Aurora, if the church is for life and all this, why does it permit capital punishment? It's important to understand. Because he said, so we're talking about abortion, but that he came up with that, and I said, okay, just take this, think about this. So this criminal or whatever he did, right? What do we have here? Innocent until proven guilty. And a lot of them get off even if they're guilty because of a technicality, they are free. Now think of this baby who has been sentenced to death just because it was it was the result of rape or incest. This baby, his own life, his own rights, okay? The other one had the benefit of the state giving him a lawyer, a fair trial, a day in court, and can get off on a technicality. This baby has been sentenced to death with no advocates, no lawyers, no hearing, no day in court, simply sentenced to death. What did this baby do? What did this guy do? I had to explain it to him because, why is the church, again, in those days when there was no, now we have the prison system, we have all the amenities. You think of Cuba, right, where they have soccer fields and they have all these, luxury things. In the past, you didn't have that. You didn't have these luxury jails. The only way you can't support this guy forever, right? Whereas now, we can feed them and house them forever because we have the means. Before, the only way to get this person out of society, to protect society, was to do that, allow that. Okay, now we're going to have all this talk about war and just wars. We're going to have a whole night on that one if we started now. So, but this is, the church, again, the wise and the most experienced in these things, okay? Because we're talking about centuries of them dealing with wars, with tyranny, with persecution, with all these things. They have the most experience, the most learned scholars studying all these things about society and civilization and all that. Okay. Now we could do, lots and lots of hours on those, but right now we're gonna do all the basics. So anyways, again, think about that. The rights of the unborn who did not do anything, but was merely, the result of an action, somebody's free will imposed on somebody else. So two wrongs don't make it right. You don't kill someone, right? Just because, this one needs to be punished, but they have a fair trial, they have all, everything, innocent until proven guilty. Opposed to this one who was sentenced to death, who did nothing of their own to deserve death. Padre Pio in the confessionals, he could read souls. So a woman goes, he says, what have you done? You have aborted the future pope. A baby you aborted was supposed to be a future pope. So we're going, Lord, why is there not a cure for cancer, a cure for Alzheimer's and all these? And the Lord answers what? I sent you the person, but you aborted him. All the future doctors, scientists, you name it. You know, we're conceived, but we're not allowed to be born. The Lord gives us all these answers with our free will, a lot of times. You know? These are accounts, okay, from people that we talk about now. The Lord has said, you know, all the medicine in the world that we need are where? In the rainforest, in the plants. When the Lord created the world, he gave us everything we need on earth to survive. Everything that we need. We're getting really smart. That's why we have antibiotics and all those things. Obviously, again, I blame Adam and Eve for all our troubles. But the Lord, of course, provided all the answers. Again, all the medicine, all the food. But in our intellect, which he gave us as a gift, we're the ones discovering all these methods. You know, he allows us to exercise our intellect to better our world and our way of living. He gives us that because in his image and likeness, he gave us some of his attributes, which is intelligence, free will, immortality. Okay? We need to exercise this for the betterment. See, the class that you're going to have when you want to discover the gifts and talents and skills that you have to help the church, all those gifts and talents, what did I say? To help the church, to help the body, to offer back to God your gifts and talents, you know, using them for the betterment, for the benefit of the body of Christ, not for yourself. Because if you do that, you know, self-destruct. Me and myself, me, mine, and myself, the unholy trinity. So that I can be rich, I can be famous. All your gifts and talents are supposed to be for the whole body, and everybody then flourishes. Everybody is prepared for the kingdom. Birth control, the artificial means, this is the stickiest part of the doctrines of the church because everybody goes, what? No, no, no. Interfering with the plan of God by using artificial means, because the purposes of marriage are twofold: union of the two, love, and procreation. So anything that violates, you know, either of those two, okay, is not a purpose of marriage. Contraception. I have a whole lot of information here, and I want you to come get it if you want to. About the effect of the chemical means of contraception, all the medical side effects that harm the woman, cancer being one of them, okay? And again, if you mess with the system, the natural way that things should go, you mess with them, you're gonna have problems. That's how you were made. The intelligent design, the perfect design of God, you know, man and woman, reproductive system, separate, different, but complementary, you know. Anytime you mess with any of those two, you'll be in trouble. All the system fails, all the illnesses, you can trace all the illnesses, you know, because of messing the system up. You are asleep and your autonomous system is working, you're digesting, your circulatory is going, and you're asleep, all right? This is the most beautiful design. If you want to call it a machine, it fixes itself before it even gives you any symptoms. That's how, you know, the designer, God himself, is so perfect. You know, before you have a fever, before you have an ache, those are symptoms of something going on in the body. The time those symptoms come is when the body has already tried to, you know, heal itself and fix itself. When that's not enough, that's when you have symptoms. Something goes wrong, the body tries to fix itself. The machine tries to repair itself. When it does that and does it good, then you don't have symptoms. When it needs help, that's when you have symptoms. See, that's the beauty of that design. It tries to fix itself before it asks for help. It asks for help when it can't fix itself anymore. and there's something wrong in there. Now it needs antibiotics. Now it needs ER. Okay, but before you have any symptoms at all, it already tried to fix itself. That's how beautiful the Lord's creation is. But we're the ones that mess it up. Okay, women, I want you to get those topics there. What it does, the chemicals that you're putting in your body, which men, you have to think about this. Everything, single one of those are poisons. They're in doses so that they don't kill you right away. But they're in small doses that will kill you over time. All these poisons, men that have girlfriends, we tell this to teenagers, those that are sexually active anyway, because they don't want. Abortion is the result of an unwanted pregnancy. Now, we have to go back. Before you get to that point, that's why chastity lessons and seminars, we need to reach our young people, because chastity, celibacy is the best thing, okay? You only need to be sexually active after marriage. After marriage. That's why it's a sin to fornicate. Sexual activity before marriage is a sin. The church tells us that, because the church knows what are the consequences of that, okay? So something goes wrong, she gets pregnant anyway, abortion. Or, let's not do that. Let's get contraceptives so that you don't get pregnant in the first place. So everyone that starts using contraception early have messed the system. They could be sterile in the future, can't have kids anymore, but they have messed the system, and they have a lot of symptoms, a lot of effects, illnesses that have come from that. Here is the church's teaching on contraception, and you have Bible passages in the back that tells you, yes, it's been a problem since, and you have instances in the Bible. So the only method approved by the church does not mess your system up, and it spaces the children. The church is not saying have 12 children in 12 years. No, the church as a mother, the nurturing, wise, no-nonsense church, very common sense church. But you're allowed to space your children only by natural means, natural family planning, okay? Natural means we have doctors that are only NFP doctors. They will not prescribe contraception. Nowadays, teenager, they're suffering with acne and skin disease or whatever. What does a doctor do? Contraception first, prescription. No. So they're starting these, I don't know, there's a whole topic on that one. But here are the effects and medical information about contraception.
What about the ones that are not chemical, like the IUDs?
No. Anything that's artificial, that's artificial. Messing. The IUD is the most notorious of all these artificial things. Causes all kinds of problems in the cervical cancer and anything that is foreign. Implants, or I'm not talking about dental implants, but but anything, IUDs and stuff like that. No. Tubal ligation, no. Sterilization, vasectomy, no. Okay? We have men that have had vasectomy, and after learning the theology of the body, have gone into reverse. It's painful, I hear, but and have gone on to have more kids. I don't know about tubal ligation, if that can be corrected, but if it's the pill, you can stop that right away. Go to an OBGYN, who is a natural family planning doctor only, and they will look at your system and not keep just prescribing to mask the symptoms. No, they will work with it is so safe. A doctor who pioneered this, Dr. Thomas Hilders in Nebraska. We have referred many women to him. RCIA, ladies, sterility, infertility. So they go and have, surrogate motherhood, and they go, freeze the eggs and the stem cell. No, in the church. Manipulation, playing God, okay? And then the frozen frozen sperm, frozen eggs. Over time, if they're not used, they are frozen indefinitely until they become stale and therefore they're dead. Okay, infertility problem. How many eggs and sperm, how many times do you have to do this? They implant, obviously, the egg and the sperm, obviously, all the medical procedures. Now, so you have all these, 5 kids, 6 tuplets, whatever, because they were doing infertility things, and now they end up with, and the most common thing that happens, though, they only want 1 child. So now when these eggs are fertilized and they have 5, they only want 1, so they kill the 4. You see what happened? How about designer babies? Years ago, Harvard, and so they want a scholar, a genius, at Harvard, and then use his sperm, and then mate that one with an egg by a woman who's a model, right? Perfect in every way. So they do this, and now you have a designer baby. You see, the facility for this in vitro is right next to the university. So now you have these ladies selling their eggs to support their education. It's just a slippery slope. I can't tell you so many things that are happening. A slippery slope of things, manipulating and playing God and all the designer babies.
About 15 years ago, there was a story in the news nationwide about Octomom, a mother who had 8 eggs. Remember that? Octomom?
Yeah.
She had a reality TV show.
Yeah.
I love her.
I know, they had a series and stuff.
Until now.
Or I just want to kind of emphasize, you kind of alluded to it, that natural family planning, at least what I hear about it from all the experts on the Catholic Answers and stuff, most people just think of it as a way to not have babies or only have babies when you want to. There's also a lot of natural methods that common medicine, because they're lazy, bypass to help women become, couples become pregnant when they have trouble actually pregnant, using the woman's natural rhythm cycles. It's not the rhythm method.
No, it's not the rhythm method, yeah.
And working together to this.
Yeah. So, people have said, so this is the church's version of birth control. Natural family planning, no. It's spacing children, and it's not abortifacient. All the chemicals, forgot to tell you, all the chemicals in the contraceptives are abortifacients, or most of them anyway. They do abort the baby that has already been conceived. And the woman doesn't even know that she aborted the baby because, it just happens. And we have all accounts from workers in the Planned Parenthood facilities. We have so many of the workers now leaving the Planned Parenthood centers and then becoming Christian, and then we know, of course, of the ones that became Catholic. They are now the loudest spokespeople of what happens we have managers and directors of Planned Parenthood facilities speaking out, and they're the ones now establishing the networks for those workers who now want to get out because, they were confronted with abortion right there. They were asked to assist in the abortion procedure, and they saw that this is a baby. Okay? The founder of NARAL, co-founder, Dr. Nathanson, who passed on, but he performed 70,000 abortions. He was Jewish. But when he saw the movie Silent Scream, which is showing the baby, the fetus, moving away from the blunt instrument, abortion instrument, I don't know if it's the suction tube or whatever, but showing the baby, and he stared at that, and he finally realized that that was murder. And so, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, and so from then on, he revealed the lie that they gave to the media about, what was the lie about abortion that they propagated, and so it it took hold, and it became popular and it became accepted. But see, he was the founder of, this is New York, 70,000 babies a year. Is that like nonstop? Is that a year or over several years? 70,000. He admitted to doing that, but then when he saw that movie, it hit him and he became a convert. Obviously, he became Catholic, and he was the foremost speaker against. Okay, here's this. Okay, I gave you that one. That one is euthanasia. You have extras or no? Okay, so I gave you another thing on euthanasia. And I like this because it says, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Again, it's manipulation. You're not useful anymore, so we can go ahead and kill you. You're a burden to society. You're too expensive. Okay, so all these nations in Vermont, was it Oregon?
Oregon just.
You know, I mean, it's slowly creeping in, but faster in some countries, because you're not useful anymore. What happened to caring for our loved ones, you know? So when you're a baby, see the slippery slope. You start when they're unborn, you know, you can kill them. Then now they're not productive anymore, you can kill them. Okay, I mean, it's all country and all these legal, all these laws being passed, and about that, making it all legal. I have another one. Anyways, no, this is about
Well,
in
these
vitro.
These two are the same.
Yeah, the same. This is about in vitro. I want to just give you all this information, but I want you to read them, because I don't want to just read them and then, you know, I want you to, I mean, in class. But again, it goes down to playing God, and you decide what you want, what's convenient for you, at the expense of the other person. My challenge is, think about this, you know, and apply it to yourself. You're going to say, I don't want to burden my children. I don't want to be a burden to society, and I don't want the pain. The truth is, pain is manageable now. We can manage pain. The government that expedite all these laws is, again, bottom line. You're becoming too expensive. You're taking up too much room, and therefore we need to get rid of you. Okay? So whether born or unborn, so born, you know, you're 70 or 80, and then you're just such a burden. You have no rights anymore. In vitro, okay, you're a well-to-do family, but you can't have kids, and you want to help somebody, or you want to have your own kids. You can adopt, but you don't want to, because you're selfish. No, I don't want somebody that has my genes, you know, my husband's genes. We're not going to adopt when there's a waiting list for, you know, there's so many babies that need to be adopted. But no, I want my own. That's, again, selfishness, you know, because you think that having a child is a right. It is not a right. It's a privilege. If you cannot have children, and you need to accept that that's probably the will of God for you, then maybe He wants you to adopt. Or maybe He wants you to be spiritual motherhood, spiritual fatherhood to others. We have cases like this where instead of, you know, doing in vitro, you know, they would have adopted, have 10 kids, you know, adopted all of those. Or the Lord has a mission for you where, you know, you can be very, you know, serving the Lord in the ministry that He gave you, and that's why He did not give you kids. But it's, again, acceptance of the Lord's will for your life, because He will fulfill you. You know, you are, you know, you think you're deprived of something. No, it's not your right, it's your privilege. If you're given that, thank you, Lord. If you're not, then He has another plan. It's always like my plan for my life, for my wish, what I like, what I want. So all goes down to acceptance of God's will, you know, rather than fulfilling what you want. Just because technology is available that you should do it.
Without saying any names, it's a perfect example of one of our parishioners who I've watched for the last 19 years adopt, usually they were
Yeah.
fetal drug or
Yeah,
what have you.
yeah,
4 of them.
yeah, 4.
The son is, the oldest son is now a very tall, very large, very big young man going to college, but also is to be a faithless altar servant.
Yeah.
The daughter is a wonderful, talented young lady who I had the opportunity of playing Moses with at Vocation Bible School. She's in college in San Francisco.
She's in college in the University of Mary, right?
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
And and then the other one is Down syndrome, but just a joyful young lady. And another little guy who, when she brought him in, he was like
A
this.
pound and a half.
And
Yeah.
he was like this big, and he had tubes all over him. But they
Thriving.
raised these 4 children. It's just, it gives you goosebumps to see them. And they
Yeah.
all come to church.
Exactly. So this family adopted 4 kids that were all, the first baby was a crack baby.
Crack baby, yes.
And so they adopted, specifically adopting children that had special needs.
Right.
You see the love in this family? You know, most of us would say, I want one with no defects, right? I want one with, I want blue eyes, I want, you know, right?
And they're perfectly
They're
capable
so
of taking care of themselves.
blessings, but, and the other one, the Down syndrome baby, is the subject of 3 books.
Yes.
The mother has written
The
3
mother has
books
written 3 books.
on her,
Yep.
okay, about her. This is a
Yeah.
parishioner here, so, you know, you see how this touches everybody and,
I just want to say, when my wife and I were trying to conceive our first child, we had, tried for a while, we'd been to many doctors and, exhausted a lot of different resources.
Yeah.
And, we were unsuccessful. And then, my wife was like, I don't know what else to do, I really want to have a kid.
yeah,
And so then, and in the midst of this, we'd also been separated for 6 months because I lost my job here, had to relocate somewhere else.
yeah,
And when we finally got back together, my wife and she was like, you're on vacation, she's in Mexico City, and she's like, I want to go to the Lady of Guadalupe
yeah,
church.
the shrine,
And so
yeah,
she prayed, she
the
was
shrine,
like,
uh-huh,
Lady of Guadalupe, I don't know what else to do, I've done everything I can do, please just, give me the opportunity to be a mom.
yeah.
So then, like a month after that, we found out she was pregnant, so I mean, it just goes to show.
Our Lady of Guadalupe, patroness of the unborn.
I mean, you never know.
You never know. Mother Angelica's network, her nuns, cloistered Franciscan nuns. She's funny, Mother Angelica says in one of her programs, it seems to her that one of their biggest people write to them, to intercede, to pray for them. She said, it seems like we're so good at praying for people to have babies. Because a lot of their requests are those that cannot have babies, and they pray, and then they get reports back. Mother Angelica, we're pregnant, She goes that it seems like that's their specialty. Intercession, intercessory prayer. So, anyways, I have all those things for you to read, and inform yourself, because eventually you will be engaged in conversation. Being Catholic, right? Once you become Catholic, you're gonna, the Catholic Church teaches this and that. And why are they so against science? Or why are they so against, all the things we have discussed? You need to know there are arguments here and answers. You have the catechism. Okay? Of course, you can always, talk to somebody about those things. We have doctors, we have all the medical people that you can think of that could give you answers. Okay, this doctor in Nebraska, Dr. Hilgers, we have, so now we have a lot of trained doctors and nurses who have been trained in technology, which is, Dr. Hilger's pioneering, another Catholic doctor, pioneering this method, who looks at the woman's system in its entirety. So, figure out what's wrong with her system, not prescribe this contraceptive right away and then fix the symptoms but not the problem. So we have this few infertile women in RCIA that we recommended to Dr. Thomas Hilders and his other partners here in Phoenix, in Arizona, and they got pregnant. Yeah, and they had problems, women's problems. We have a lot of problems, and not just the infertility was fixed, but all the other female problems, because they look at the entire system, not just one part and one symptom.
Also wanted to mention on that note, find a good naturopathic doctor.
Naturopathic.
A lot of these drugs that we take, that a lot of normal doctors
I need to
give
talk
you-
to you if you know someone.
Yeah, my wife actually used to work for one, still
Oh,
kind of does, and it's
perfect.
great. But a lot of the drugs that we put into our bodies are synthetic, and they have a lot of, side effects. Whereas if you get with a naturopathic doctor, they'll take your blood sample, they'll diagnose it for all the mineral deficiencies you have.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of which, you've read about this, right? Because of the contraceptives that are being flushed, in the sewer system and all that, so it goes to the waters, the seas and oceans, right? Now they're studying all the fish, and now they have transgender fish, they have questionable fish, and all the, there's modifications in, so I'm telling you, it's impacting the whole environment, the pollution, the chemicals. Because of course, where does it go eventually? Sewer system, where does it go? The bodies of water. What does it affect? The seas, the oceans, the, aquatic life.
The fish.
See that? All these studies are coming out. They have already, but you're not informed of it because. So it affects the whole ecology. It's destroying the planet. It's us that are destroying the planet. But we need that balance again. Do not worship the planet as if it's God. Okay? So that you'll not do anything just because. That's another topic.
I just wanted to mention a resource for a lot of these ethical situations is the National Catholic Bioethics Center. This website is
Yes.
ncbcenter.org.
National Catholic Bioethics.
Center.org.
Father
Oh, the
Pakolchak,
dead, yeah.
Father Pakolchak, a priest who is a geneticist, who is an expert in this. You find them in all these science branches of science, where is the Bioethics Center. The wealth of information. Being Catholic, you're going to be exposed now to this information that will not be available, otherwise, because they will not be available in all the other media. You'll be amazed, amazed, amazed. That's why it's so deep and so profound
I just wanna
and broad.